Today, I have what I hope is a very interesting game for you in the legendary tier American battleship USS Ohio, which may be one of the best battleships in the entire game. The reason I think this match is good and interesting to look at is because the result of the match is not going to become apparent until quite literally the final 60 seconds. So, before we get there, there's a lot that happens, and I think there is much to analyze here. So let's get into it. We spawn, of course, on the Delta Charlie flank, and we are initially going to push out even further to the right-hand side of the map. The idea is we've got this battleship right next to us. He's pushing forward. If we go to the right and put distance between ourselves and him, then potentially we'll be setting ourselves up to create a crossfire, depending on what he does, of course. The idea is that when the enemies are spotted on this flank, if we are far enough away from that battleship, then the enemies will be forced to choose. Do they want to angle against our teammate, or do they want to angle against us? The only way we achieve that is by getting as far away from that battleship as possible. So we're taking ourselves rather consciously behind this island. We don't want to push in front of it, because what happens if we get spotted? Well, then we've got one side of our ship to the island, and that very much limits our maneuverability. We can only turn in and point our bows at the ship, which is a problem because it limits us from using all of our firepower, and of course, if Yamato's sitting right there, he can just overmatch the bow. Not ideal. In any case, we come around the island and we spot a Schroeder who looks like he's about to beach himself and is fairly broadside. He's slightly angled. Actually, he's quite angled if you look at the mini-map. That's one thing to consider, and probably, by the way, one of the reasons you might find, if you complain about this a lot, your shells falling short. You see there, we get 3 ricochets against the Schroeder. On the screen, he looked fairly broadside, right? But if we look at the minimap, we can see just how angled he is to our position. So it's no surprise that we bounce some shells there. And same thing, if you look at a ship on your screen that appears to be broadside, you aim at the waterline and shoot, but you take a look at the minimap and find actually they're slightly angled. Good chance all your shells are going to hit the water if you're aiming at the waterline in that kind of scenario. Something to keep in mind. The minimap is useful for more than just looking at the positions of the enemy ships. It can also reveal to you when they're slightly angled, even if it's hard to tell just by looking at them through the binoculars. In any case, we've decided to turn back because there's Yamato here, there's 2 battleships out there in the distance, and there's the Schroeder. Plus, there's the Smalland, which we didn't know about until now, but he's spotted, and unfortunately, he's an extremely powerful destroyer with radar. I suspect he's using the radar because our destroyer tried to smoke up but remained spotted, and he's doomed now. He's attempting to torpedo the Smalland, but those torpedoes are not going to go anywhere. They're going to do absolutely nothing, and at this point, he's stuck bow into the Smalland, revealed by his radar. He's tried to turn around, but he's lost all of his HP in the process. Smalland, playing the throttle juking game there, dodges our salvo, so we can't even help this poor guy. And I think he's probably at this point unspotted, but Smalland is a Chad. He's continuing to blind fire, I guess. Oh no, he must still be spotted. In any case, GK is the one that takes down our Z-44, the first casualty of the blue team, and we've lost our DD. Not ideal. We take a follow-up shot at the Smalland, but he does, of course, have that fancy engine boost that gives him like a 20% speed buff or something like that. And so he's able to mostly dodge that salvo. Takes 1 shell, and it does activate our super accuracy module, legendary, whatever it's called. In any case, we know Smalland is there. We suspect maybe torpedoes are in the water, so we are going to drastically alter our course and turn around. But we are unspotted, so Smalland is definitely outside of our detectability range. Still, there are a lot of ships on this flank. Yamato is nearly toast. Does look like he's going to go down. We get spotted by Smalland, kind of hoping that he would be spotted himself, but looks like his gun range is kind of short because we don't see him, even though he is open water gunboating our now deceased friendly BB. That just leaves me and the 2 cruisers sort of behind me left on this flank versus what appears to be nearly all of the enemy team's battleships. except for the single battleship on the red team that is inside of the Alpha Cap stuck between two blue battleships. That guy is probably going to die. These guys, though, are all full HP. And, well, they could have a very easy time taking me out. There is absolutely no way whatsoever we can push into all three of these battleships. Actually, there's four of them, plus the Schroeder. Only the GK and the Schroeder are spotted right now, but I guarantee you the rest of these guys are here, and if we go forward, we are going to start taking a lot of damage. Even if we kite away, we're going to start taking a lot of damage. You can see it starting now. Trying to get some shots on that Schroeder, not working out too well. Maybe we could kill that Yamato out there in the distance, but I think he's outside of our main battery gun range. I am using a brawling secondary build, so I don't have maximum gun range, and unfortunately I don't really think it comes in handy for me here. Gun build probably would have been better, but at the same time, I don't know that I would have survived this without all the heals. Enemy Yamato in a position to donate some HP to us. Let's see if we can accept that generous gift from him. Yes, we get one Citadel, about 24k damage there. Good chunk of Yamato's HP gone, but we still need to continue kiting because all three of these ships are, well, they're going to just do too much damage to us. There are some small-end torpedoes coming in hot. They are, of course, very fast torpedoes with long range, but they don't hit too hard. So we don't lose a lot of HP there, but it does force us to pop our damage control. I don't know what is going on with Yamato and GK over there, but we're going to try to take advantage of that again and hopefully score another Citadel. In any case, the teams are pretty evenly matched right now. Each has only lost 2 ships, but crucially, the blue team has lost its destroyer, which means its eyes and ears. Luckily, these battleships are so willing to shoot that they keep getting spotted, and Yamato is, well, there we take a nasty hit, I assume, from Yamato, and we're down to nearly no HP. The idea at this point is to preserve our hit points. There are still 8 minutes left to go in the battle. If we sink here, we're really not going to contribute anything to our team. And we hope to contribute at least something. So we make it behind the safety of the island where we're able to go dark. We should be able to take some shots here at the Yamato without being spotted and without being shot back, which hopefully will give us enough time to get to our next heal. Yamato is still broadside. He is playing with fire. Eventually, he's going to get burnt. There's another Citadel. We're over 100k damage now. And Yamato and GK are headed toward the center of the map. Meanwhile, I think that Montana is still in pursuit of me and potentially the cruiser behind me, who it looks like he's able to do some farming against these battleships over the island chain, which is ideal. Yamato, though, still has not discovered the virtues of angling. And so, does he take another Citadel? Yes, and this time it's lethal. 2 Citadels, in fact, over 30k damage. Yamato goes down as our first kill of the game, and we're up to 144k. Okay, so we've still got Montana closing in, and we still don't have a lot of HP. We've burned through our penultimate heal, and there is only one left. Apparently, we've taken so much damage that none of it is actually healable, so we're stuck with this 23k HP with 6 minutes left to go in the battle. Well, how are we going to deal with this? Because this is a close game. We've got almost no HP. A single well-placed salvo from any battleship could easily sink us, and things are close. We are now ahead on kills versus the enemy team, but our team is all in one place, and they're encroaching on the Bravo cap. Enemy team has 2 caps, so theoretically, they will be able to overtake us on points, so long as they don't continue to sink. And they do sink one of our friendly teammates there, which puts them almost close to our points total, 467 to 502. They will be able to overtake us shortly. Montana, intermittently spotted, is taking some HE spam from the cruiser next to us, which I think is a Colbert, and we are going to attempt to dial some shots into his superstructure, hopefully for some decent damage. Maybe not quite, only 4k there. Montana still continuing to push, and finally, for the first time, I think, in this match, well, actually the second time, maybe, our secondaries begin to open up as the Montana comes within range. So we'll get a little bit of extra damage from those. provided he continues to be spotted, which he doesn't continue to be. Blue team is inside of the Bravo cap now, though. Looks like that cap may be contested. The capture progress is not moving up, which is a problem. We have 526 points, enemy team has 515. It'll only be a matter of moments before they overtake us. But actually, the blue cap is continuing to turn blue, so we may be able to secure that before the enemy team overtakes us on points. And then, so long as nobody dies, well, we'll be able to maintain a points lead. Of course, whatever ship is trying to capture Bravo does get reset, so the enemy team does overtake us on points. Maybe not the end of the world. We could still win this. The big problem, though, is we don't know where the enemy destroyer is. And we're on such low HP that we absolutely can't just push straight into the Montana and allow him to sink us so easily. I thought the Montana might be coming around this corner of the island, but no surprise. He turned and went the complete other way. He's also almost broadside, but he is turning out, so we immediately take the shot. The results are okay, not great, but he gets a much better hit into us for over 10k there, and takes out a turret, which is not ideal. So one more salvo from that guy, and we're toast, just as one of our friendly battleships goes down, and now it is an even 4v4. I don't think there's any gain here in me dying, so I elect to go dark. I, of course, am spec'd into concealment. I've got the concealment module. I've got Kondo as one of my inspirations. My detectability by sea is 13 kilometers. There are people who will tell you it is useless to spec into concealment on a battleship, but they are wrong, and this is an example of why. Because when we're spotted at 13 kilometers, we'll note that the Montana is not built into concealment. I don't even think he's running the concealment mod, because I think we spot him eventually here from 15 kilometers. Well, if he gets spotted at 15, we get spotted at 13. We're in a scenario where it really is 1v1. We control the engagement. We see this guy well before he sees us. That gives us the opportunity to angle our ship in a good way. It gives us an opportunity to carefully aim our salvo. And we get to decide when the fight starts. That's one of the advantages of concealment on a battleship, particularly if you find yourself in a fairly long-range 1v1 scenario. It allows you to better control or dictate the terms of the engagement, which is a huge advantage if you find yourself in a scenario where you've got 17,000 HP versus like a half-health Montana. In any case, Montana has turned around for reasons that I don't fully understand. I think he probably should press his advantage against me because I'm not all that healthy. But he has turned around and he started to kite away. Somebody else on the blue team has moved into the Bravo cap. And the last remaining battleship aside from Montana is pushing from the Charlie flank toward the Bravo cap. Montana is now broadside to us. Another good thing about concealment, and you see how he's spotted at 14, maybe not 15 kilometers, but 14. We weren't spotted at all. If we had not built into concealment, we would be, and that Montana would have been angling much earlier. But we weren't spotted. He didn't see us. He didn't angle, and so now he is dead for our second kill of the game. That puts us ahead on points, and I believe the friendly battleship in the Bravo cap is going to flip it, which means we should continue to maintain our points lead so long as nobody else sinks. And that red battleship right there, well, he's flat broadside to the last remaining blue battleship. So does he go down? Does look like he's turning away and he's getting the angle, and he's still surviving. Unfortunately, we're too far away to actually see what's going on, and that's when the small end appears on the other side of the map, 19 kilometers away. We were ahead on points, but the small end is able to take down the GK and put his team ahead on points in the final 60 seconds. The friendly battleship nearly takes him out, but unfortunately, we are just not in a position to help. If we were, that would have been a win. If that friendly battleship had simply landed a single other shell, that probably would have been a win too. If our destroyer was still alive, or if he had taken more HP from that small end in the initial engagement, we probably would have won. But all these things add up together into a very close and hard fought loss for the blue team. So I'm not even all that upset about it. This is exactly the kind of game I want to see. I think there is a lot to dig into here. It absolutely could have gone either way, and the result wasn't clear until literally the final 60 seconds. So even though it is a loss, and we would have hoped that it would be a win, well, it was a fun experience. It was close, it was interesting, and this right here exemplifies more than anything why I love World of Warships Legends and why I continue to play it 4 years after release, or 5 years now, actually. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.